Hi there, thank you for watching this quick video on how to purge the audit trail and activity tracking in IBM Clarity. So today I'm going to quickly walk through what is audit trail. We're going to view a couple different pieces. We're going to view audit trail, we're going to look at the tables that support audit trail, where do you set different features of it, and how do you purge it. And because it's very related, we're going to talk about activity tracking. We're going to show where you can view activity tracking, what database tables are involved, and how do you purge activity tracking. So here we are within Clarity. We're logged in. We can see our administration menu along the top. First, let's try and view our audit trail. So you'll see normally under administration, audit trail, you can select two different options, by report or by template. The report or by template. If you look at the report, you'll just come to a blank screen like this. This can sometimes confuse folks, because the first thing you need to do is actually click on your search options to see what you want to see, what you want to look at. In this case, I'm going to choose all dates because I know it's not a lot of data here, but I'll need to select a cube by which I want to look at the data. Now, audit trail shows you all the changes that have happened to a particular cube. You can look at it by user, and depending on how much audit trail is being saved, you may be able to look at all of the data that was saved at that time. So if we let that run, we see, okay, in this case there's a lot of data here, a lot of changes that have happened. I'm going to look at the date times here to tell me, okay, there's a certain date that seems to a lot of these changes have happened. If I want to look back at the search options, I can filter further by dates. And this is something I encourage everyone to do, is filter out just really the oldest data from this section. So if I look at the data now, I see there's something from February 6th, going back to some dates in January. So let's say, for the sake of this example, we're going to filter out everything older than February. But before we do that, let's take a look at the tables behind the scenes. So here we're looking at the entity relationship diagrams for audit trail. There's really three key tables involved: the template audit trail, the OLAP audit trail, and the OLAP cells. These three tables together capture and store all the data related to changes across the system where audit trail has been enabled. Now, because these things can grow quite quickly over time depending on the levels, there needs to be a way of purging this information out. So now if we look back at Clarity, we'll look at how to purge that out. So now here that we're back in Clarity, we're looking at that same spot where we have the audit trail report showing us all the changes happening across the system that have happened across the system. Right now there's about 180 records. There's 2 pages showing. Now I've got the most recent information from February, but I want to keep that for now because that's February's maybe an active month. And let's say I just want to get rid of anything older than that. So if I go back to my search options here, I can now be more clear about what I want to purge out. So I'm going to filter this by date. Anything from, and just because this is old data, I can even type in this cell, which might be faster. Let's say anything from January 1st, 2013 to January 31st, 2013. So now I filtered it down to just 72 records. I'm showing 100 records per page, so this would show me all the records in the one page. I can just do a quick scroll down and up to make sure I just see what I expect to see. And now I can purge this. I want to purge all entries that meet the current search criteria, purge all selected entries, purge entries created on or before a certain date. So this is probably the most useful one. Now, because I already have them selected in my search criteria, I'm going to select the search criteria one. But if you wanted to skip that step of setting the search criteria, you can just come here and put in the date before which you want to clear everything out. At that point, it gives you a warning to say this will delete all affected records. This may affect the ability to rebuild the OLAP data source from audit trail. And all this is saying is, if you want to look back at anything past this point, then even if you find the file on the server, it may not give you a correct representation. So just a warning to let you know that don't look at audit trail information back from this point, which is fine. We don't care about this, so it's okay to get rid of that. So now that we've completed that, one thing we can also check is the settings for the audit trail files that are stored in the server. So if you look at your Clarity Systems, Clarity Server, web, bin, application.config file, part of that you'll find a reference to a particular path on your server where it will save hard files on the server. So what we can do is we can check that path to see that those files have been cleared out. And if I check that file on this particular server, I see that I still have the February information, but stuff before that's been cleared out. So that's to be expected. So that tells us that it has been cleared out correctly. If for some reason it did not clear out files older than a particular date or within the date range I selected, at this point they can be manually deleted out of that folder. It's helpful to know the tables that are involved in activity tracking. So here they're listed here in this entity relationship diagram. For activity tracking, we have the application table, functionalities table, activity tracking log, and the modules table. The activity tracking log is really the only one that's used exclusively for activity tracking. The other three are used for other pieces of Clarity as well. So now that we've taken a look at both the audit trail and how to configure that, let's take a look at the activity tracking. So again, under administration, if you look at activity tracking, first let's look at administration. This is where you can really set all the different types of events that are tracked through activity tracking. By just selecting the checkbox on the right hand side, you can change which one of these events are saved or tracked as users do them. Over time, you'll want to come through as kind of a maintenance task to clear that out. And that's where, if you go to the activity tracking log, you'll be able to not only see what's been happening. So if you click on view log, you'll see the different activity of folks throughout the system, but you can also purge the log. So just as you have with the audit trail, you can purge audit trail, you can also purge activity tracking. At purge activity tracking, it'll ask you for the starting date and ending date. So maybe you want to keep some of the information, so let's put it back to, in this case I know it's really only data in January and February of 2013. So let's just put it to, how about February 1st, 2013. So we'll leave it at that, and then we're going to hit save. Purge successful, that's a good message to get. View my log. I only see data from 2014 here, so that 2013 January data has been purged out, and there's fewer records to look at.